The anime starts with the main character in a dark room passing Tramontina in several hooded men with firearms. He kills them all but has difficulty against their leader. He asks what organization they are from, but this leader plays a distraction against him and uses it to escape. After that, the scene cuts with him in the subway. A narration by the protagonist himself happens where he comments that werewolf monsters roam around the night outside. On landing, he meets a girl with red hair and helps her to go down. After that, he arrives at a mansion where he is received by the maids. Entering the mansion, he sees a girl on the balcony. This girl ends up losing her balance and falling, but the protagonist uses all his speed to hold her without suffering a scratch. She asks if he is her new teacher, and he replies that yes. Kufa is his name and her name is Melida. After this conversation, her maids say that it is time for her training, and she asks if Kufa would see her train, and he replies that yes, because he has the authorization to do so. They go to the training field where a girl mocks her and challenges her to a fight. She accepts but has no chance of winning because her opponent is a mana user and she can't use mana even though she's royal. The girl who was facing her then starts to mock her dream of joining the maddest guild of all and becoming the hope of the people, saying that it was impossible because she didn't have magic, and she runs out of there crying. We've seen this story before. A flashback happens showing Kufa talking to his boss that day where he killed General that I showed at the beginning of the anime. His boss who gave him the mission to become her teacher with a certain objective in mind, which was to see if she really was her father's biological daughter since her mother had an affair with another guy. It's looking like family cases here. After watching her fighting, he proved that she really couldn't use magic and came to the conclusion that she was not the biological daughter of her father, who was a very important guy there, and I don't know what, I forgot. With that, he goes on his second mission, which is to kill this girl, but when he enters in her room, he sees that she was gone. The scene cuts to her running in the street, running away from some kind of monster that was following. Kufa goes after her and finds her being attacked by monsters in a nearby garden. He wonders why that she didn't ask someone for help, and with something she says he realizes that she doesn't ask for help because that would be admitting that she has no mana, and not having mana she cannot be the heiress of her family. While he sees her being beaten, his being fills with rage and he goes to save her by killing all these monsters. She thanks him and starts to cry, and at that moment he talks to himself that he wants to see where this girl without talent can go, and he wants to see her being recognized for her efforts. So he takes a potion and kisses her to pass the potion to her, since it was much easier to just give it to her to drink, but okay. And the scene cuts with her falling infinitely into a gray backdrop, raising her hand in toward a light in the distance. The scene cuts with her lying on the bed and Kufa examining her. He explains that she resisted the effect of the potion and gained the ability to use mana, but that there may have been some side effect of the potion on her body, and that's why he's checking. He explains that her magic is samurai class and not paladin like she wanted, but she's glad it's the same as his. He asks her to keep it a secret for a while and tells himself that performing at a royal level is essential for the two of them to survive. She is happy to have mana, but he forbids her to use it outside of his classes, and a while later that annoying girl from before starts bothering her again, but Kufa tells her to hold on until the day of the tournament, which would be in a week, so she can use her mana and surprise everyone. The scene cuts to the day of the tournament with Melida sad and without confidence in her ability. That annoying girl goes back to bothering her in front of the Kufa, who tells her to take it. No, I'm kidding. But he tells her to be quiet, saying he can't take her voice anymore. I agree, and starts talking bad about him, calling him a fake instructor and stuff, but at that moment the honey gets in and slaps her hand, telling her not to talk about her teacher like that and that she would end up with her in the tournament. As soon as the battle starts, Melida runs towards this girl who attacks her with everything underestimated, but at that moment Melida uses mana for the first time and counterattacks the girl's attack. She keeps hitting her until Elka gets angry and uses her most powerful attack against, but Melida gets up easily, saying that Sensei's attacks were too much scarier than that, and there she goes hitting that girl some more until her mana runs out and she ends up getting beaten up. Unfortunate. The bitch there says she should have stayed quiet without using mana and breaks her sword, leaving her so pissed that she can use mana again and attacks her with a very advanced attack. This attack, which she uses with mastery, and finally defeats this girl once and for all. Kufa is impressed that she managed to use an attack of this magnitude without him even teaching her, and after all that she and her team won the match. So she goes to celebrate with Kufa, and at that moment her father passes by. She gathers courage and talks to him, who tells her not to get so excited just because of a victory and prove her worth in a tournament with another school. This one won the Big Daddy Trophy of the year. Later that baggy girl appears there and returns the book that had taken her, apologizing to her. A while later, Melida was talking to Kufa about a school festival that was about to happen. She asks him to dance with her on the bonfire day, but he says that he had an appointment with the king and he couldn't, but that he would come back in the last day of the festival and he would dance with her. He asks about the dress she was holding and she says that all the students wear one at the festival. He asks her to try on the dress, but she says she can't because she looks forward to wearing it. Dressed with her friend Ellie and parading with her. The scene cuts showing her friend Ellie having a conversation with her maid. She says that the masters of the house were very happy with her performance in the tournament, but that she could have ended the fight against Melida even faster and made her kiss his feet to show everyone that she is the one who should become the heir of the family. I didn't get to explain it here, but basically this Ellie is part of a branch of the family of Melida. It's as if they were kind of distant relatives, let's say. That's why her family wants her to prove herself worthy of being the heir of the main family in Melida's place. And I didn't show it here, but the two face each other in that tournament. The anime doesn't show it either, it just says yes. Ellie wanted to wear the same dress as Melida to the festival, but the maid in charge of her calls the dress horrible and has a new one made for her. The new one she wears to the festival and people are like jealous of her for wearing an expensive dress. Rich with envy of rich people is the funniest thing, lol. Ellie then leaves there crying with this situation and Melida goes there to console, but then a group of villains appears including that guy from the beginning of the anime that faced Kufa and kidnaps the two. Melida wakes up in a dark museum with Ellie passed out and that guy saying that no one would come to save. His plan was to transfer Ellie's paladin class by force to Melida. She tries to attack him but realizes that she can't use mana there. Ellie wakes up a while later without understanding anything and is scared of the monsters that were there. Melida then takes a hammer and breaks a dinosaur statue that falls on top of the monsters, giving time for the two to escape. They get close to the exit, but this villain and his tram appear there before they could escape. For some reason he feels a strong threat coming from two and decides to change plans and kill them right there to not cause him problems in the future. But before he could do that, Fuka and Ellie's teacher arrive there and put everyone to suckle at the base of the beating. Kufa leaves Ellie's teacher taking care of the girls and goes after that guy alone. This villain says that he is taking too long to complete his mission to kill Melida, so he was sent for this. He summons a kind of giant artificial monster programmed to be impossible to be defeated by humans that attacks Kufa together with villain. That's when we realize how strong the protagonist is, because even with two enemies attacking him at the same time he still tanks the hits. At a certain point in the fight he is taken by surprise by the villain who seals his magic and soon after he is attacked by the monster, losing his arm in the process. This villain even turns his back singing victory, but he feels an explosion behind him and when he turns around he sees the feared monster all detonated and the protagonist leave there as if nothing had happened. That's where the big plot twist of the video comes in. Kufa goes beyond his power limit, even changing the color of his hair and revealing that he's actually half a vampire. He takes his torn off arm, puts it back in the place, and this villain asks what a stronger type of monster is doing there. Kufa says that he is half monster and half human just like him and that he will not kill him, convincing him to give up the mission to kill Melida. The scene cuts with the head of Kufa talking to a strange girl in a hood, telling her to go after him and telling her to kill him if he refuses to fulfill his mission. The episode ends with him inviting her to dance at the festival.